Hello and welcome back to Boardroom Insights with Alan O'Neill. So for the last many years, I've been a huge fan of the home industry, both inside the home and outside the home, for all sorts of bizarre reasons. But I've been a follower and an admirer of this indigenous Irish company called Global Home Improvements. And when I saw recently an ad in the Irish Times where Global Home Improvements were saying thank you to their customers for 45 successful years in Ireland, I just had to reach out and chat to Barry Shevlin. So I'm here today with Barry Shevlin, who I've met in the past. And Barry is the owner and managing director of a lovely Irish company called Global Home Improvements. So let's hear from Barry. Barry, over to you. You're very welcome. And thanks for joining me.
Thanks, Alan. Great to be on. And I've been a long admirer of you as well and have all your books.
So tell me this, Global Home Improvements, who are you and what do you do?
Okay, so we're based in Dublin. We have a production facility in Glasnevin in Dublin 11. We manufacture and install windows and doors, and we also do roofing products and flat roofs as well. So we bring everything from the design stage right to the very end, from survey, manufacture, installation, and aftercare. Just solely deal with homeowners. We don't do any commercial work. We don't do with builders.
I was going to ask you that, right?
Yeah. We don't. We solely deal with the homeowner. That's our market. That's our passion, and that's where we just focus all our attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
And 45 years, Barry, has it always been that model focused on the domestic customer?
I think the majority of the time it has been. It was set up by my father, obviously, Alan, not myself.
Yeah. Okay.
He said,
young fella like it.
Exactly. Although people have said, how's your brother doing? So we have had that recently.
Oh dear.
So, but no, he set it up in 1980 with the very customer-centric operandi back then. We did veer into commercial, we did veer into dealing with builders and so forth, but it just wasn't. We tried to bring our customer-centric world into that world, and it wasn't appreciated. So we just said no.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And also financing builders when you're looking at scale. I mean, the volume that they be buying and they're waiting for payment and all that kind. I get it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I suppose quality is, they're especially in these days, they're under pressure of building costs. And I suppose, unfortunately, quality, we'd be up there as regards quality. That wouldn't be in their wheelhouse at the moment.
Right. So Barry, I'm just thinking then as well that is it all aluminium or do you do wood as well?
No, we're actually all uPVC,
uPVC,
Alan, and we don't do any wood. We do some aluminium, but the majority would be uPVC. Yeah.
Sorry, I should have said uPVC. I get that. Yeah, I mean they're all uPVC now, aren't they?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right. And did you ever do wood?
No, well, no, sorry, we did actually. We used to do a wooden door that was looked really well. It was great, but the issue with wood is you have to buy very high quality timber for the Irish climate, because Ireland is damp, and what works in Finland or Sweden, where everyone thinks, if it works in Finland or Sweden, it's really cold. Surely it'll work here, but it actually doesn't, because they don't have the same moisture as an Irish climate. So you really have to be careful. So we just found that we had too many problems with it, and we just said, you know what, we're going to go back and just stick to what we know and what we're confident about, where it's going to have a lifetime with homeowners.
Okay, gotcha. Right, and then Barry, the other thing here linked to this is the glazing. I mean, it's moved from double to triple glazing now, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, look, we were the first company to launch triple glazing in Ireland in 2011. So we put it out as standard in 2011. So it was unheard of.
Wow.
And it's the majority. It's all our business now at the moment. But obviously, you can, if a customer wants double glazing, we'll give it to them. But it's standard. We feel it's a no-brainer, really. It's an extra, 33% protection and energy efficiency that you're getting, so it makes sense.
You're going to get a much higher BER rating with the triple glazing, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. It's much more energy efficient on the rating, but it just makes more sense. You've got 3 layers of insulation compared to 2, and even from a security point of view, they have to get through 3 panes of glass instead of 2. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And Barry, with the huge focus these days on sustainability and the environment and so on, I'm sure the triple glazing is a really strong selling point because of it's helping to keep costs of heating down.
Yes.
And leakage. Right.
Yeah. It reduces heat. It's hard to put an exact number, but we would say anywhere between 20 to 30% you can save if it's fitted right.
Yeah.
There's a massive saving, and the feedback from our customers is that it improves sound as well, even though we're not selling it as sound. But when you seal the whole house in, and they go from an old aluminium window, for instance, or an old timber window, or even a PVC window that was fitted 20 years ago, there's a massive difference. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Barry, you mentioned that you're at the higher end of the market. Now, in the world of uPVC, what does that mean? What's high market or premium versus the lower end? What's the difference?
I always say a lot that you don't see is actually hard to convey over to customers.
Right.
But ultimately, let's say if people moved into a new housing development in the last 10, 15 years, we would call it a builder's PVC windows would be fitted into that, okay? They're doing mass production. It's all about just numbers and so forth, and meet the bare requirements, okay?
Right.
We're probably one of the few companies that are manufacturing and installing in Dublin. There's not many of us. There's probably a handful, where 20 years ago there used to be about 50. But we do that so that we can control our quality. There's no other way to do it. It's custom made. It's not mass produced. It's very, very custom made. It's nearly boutique niche level in one regard. But ultimately, it comes down to hinges, screws, reinforcing, the thickness of the PVC. It's kind of like saying you can buy it. You can buy a 3-piece suit, or not as many people wearing suits anymore, but you can buy. A suit is a suit. You have a 3-piece suit from Louis Copeland. You have a 3-piece suit from a low retailer. One could be €100. One could be 1,000.
Gotcha. Okay. And I guess too, Barry, when you're going back to, let's say, retrofit an existing house, it's obviously not a new house, you're retrofitting, that there'll be nuances in every window, whether it be something off level or something, and you're manufacturing to that exact window rather than the conveyor belt type that the builder would be doing for it. I guess that's part of it too.
Absolutely. Like if we called out to your house, Alan, we'd number one, we'd go through everything with you. We'd see what your needs are. We'd see what your concerns are. Then we would design a window and a package that suited you and your home. But not only that, then the surveyor has to call out then after that, and he's doing a real in-depth survey to make sure their measurements are right for production and also for installation. And then there's a full stream of events that happens after that. But it's every order, every single window is custom made for each individual home and homeowner. Very important.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, is it all over Ireland or Dublin only?
No, it's Dublin and surrounding counties, I would say. Yeah.
Okay, right. Yeah. Why is that, Barry? And why not go down other parts of the world?
I suppose there's one practical reason, and that's not to say we're not going to in the next couple of years.
Okay.
So but one of the reasons is we give a guarantee, Alan, of 20 years for our windows.
I know you do. My gosh.
Yeah. So we're the only company in the UK and Ireland that gives a guarantee like we do, okay? So a lot of other window companies would say there's a guarantee, but that would be kind of a general warranty.
Right.
So like if the glass explodes or something like that, it's covered. But it's a bit like a warranty in a car, where you see some firms have a 7-year warranty, but you're still going to have to get servicing, and you're going to have to pay for the servicing. You're still going to have to pay for your wheels. You're going to have to pay if anything goes wrong outside of that warranty.
Okay.
Ours is a full no-quibble warranty. Absolutely no charges for 20 years.
Right.
So if we call out to your house, let's say 3 times a year with a faulty door or a faulty handle, and there's materials and there's labor call charges, And if we call out 10 times a year, which won't happen, but if it does, you will not get charged a cent, not 1 cent.
Right.
So that's the reason if we go down the country and there's issues, it's a bit of it's kind of logistical. We have to just navigate how we're going to support our customers that way. Gotcha. The other thing as well that is part of the package is like the AA. It's called Global 365. If you have an emergency on Christmas Day where simply, let's say you were locked out of your house, you went off to your relatives, came back on Christmas morning, you couldn't get into the house, we're there, we have a call center, and you can ring us and we'll come out and we'll let you into your house free of charge.
Amazing. Right, okay. But being able to declare a 20-year guarantee, Barry, is obviously based on your own internal monitoring over time. You know that it's cost effective. By being able to say 20 years, clearly it's because over the years you haven't had call outs inside 20 years to give you that confidence now to be able to say 20 years.
Yeah, well, we do have call outs and things do go wrong. And even with the best of brands, things can go wrong. But I suppose what we've done, Alan, is it's a win-win for the customer because we've invested in every part of the product it's the highest standard of product. And customers probably don't understand that, but like our screws that we use are austenitic screws that they use on sailboats, so that they don't rust. Okay.
Right.
So they cost about 15, 20 times than the average screw that other people are using.
Right.
So we invest in the product and we have the very best of raw materials going into the product to ensure that we don't have a big after sales bill on the other side. So that's what makes up the price. So it's a huge part of it. But look, we do have call outs, and that's the thing, we do keep our promises. And that's why a lot of customers come back to us is because they ring up or they had an emergency and they'd say, how much do we owe you for that? And we go, no charge. And they go, sorry. They forget about what we promised them, and that's fundamental. That actually accelerates our business as well because they said, my God, they kept their promise. It's very important.
What I'm impressed with here, Barry, is clearly this is a business podcast, so I'm just focused on the business elements here, and I'm really inspired by the fact that you're so clear about your proposition. And I guess I'm curious to know, why did you select? You could have gone, if you take the world of retail, let's say in Ireland, you got Brown Thomas all the way down to Pennies. And there's nothing wrong with Pennies, by the way, right?
No.
It's a fantastic brand.
Yeah.
But you decided to go closer to the Brown Thomas end of the market. I'm being extreme to make my point here, Barry.
Yeah.
Rather than the Pennies. What was it that made you decide to go for premium, which by default will have lower volume than a volume market that you might get at the Pennies type level? And for the non-Irish listeners, the Pennies in Ireland is called Primark around the world. Sorry, Barry.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Why did you go that route?
Well, I don't think I can take credit for that because obviously my dad set it up. I joined in 1999, and when I arrived into the business, I just got this massive sense. I came from number one, when I left school, I said I'm never going to join the family business. Never. Okay.
Right, famous last words.
Famous last words, and I ate them truly. But I said never am I going to. So I went into the world of property development and building, etc. So I really came from that, which I really loved. Gave me a really love for construction. But when I arrived into Global, the one thing that struck me was just the customer-centric, back then in 1999, of the customer-centric atmosphere, and everything revolved around the customer. And I suppose it just morphed into that, and it just came, and just the culture grew, primarily driven by my dad in the early stages. And it just, I think it's in you. If you have quality in you, I think, I like design, I like quality, I like, I appreciate good things. But I also want value for money, and sometimes things that, and I would say we're not expensive, Alan.
Yeah.
But I say we're value for money, but I think that's just morphed over the years, and then we started winning awards, and we continue to do so. Just the culture, I think, grew. Driven initially by my dad. Yeah.
So you've never been tempted to change the model and go more volume oriented, because I'm sure, like when you're at the premium end, Barry, you are a more sophisticated, more considered purchase, because I'm sure there are others that are cheaper than you on the transaction, on the invoice. I mean, maybe not long
Absolutely.
term, but on the
Yeah.
invoice, there are others cheaper than you. So have
Yes.
you ever been tempted to just challenge yourself and say, maybe we could go down a bit?
I've thought about it, but I don't think we could do it. I think it takes a long time to build up that culture of
Right.
doing things the right way, and having all your systems in place, because a lot of work to get all that come together.
Yeah.
So I as much as I thought about it, the nightmare of unraveling it, I don't
Yeah.
think we'd make much money, Alan, because we'd be still doing it the right way,
Sure, I get you.
You know.
And then how do you defend? I mean, like when I know I asked you earlier about what makes it premium, how do your sales guys manage to defend your pricing? Because you're going out and you are more expensive on the invoice value to some to compared to others.
Yeah.
How do you defend that?
Yeah, look, it's as you well know, premium sometimes can be hard for the customer to understand and to communicate the message. I suppose there's a lot. Number one, we're very much we take our time with customers, and we put a lot of training. We give a lot of support and training to our sales team.
Yes.
I think selling at our level is not an easy thing to do, and I think we've got an amazing sales team. They're just really, really good, very, very professional. But we train them, we equip them.
Yeah.
But most of all, we ensure that we give a lot of time to the customers.
Right.
We make sure that they're well able to listen, and listen to their problems, etc. So we spend a lot of time with our customers.
Yeah.
A lot of time.
Okay. So when you say then there's a very strong customer ethos, to what extent? I mean, obviously you've got people in the back end that don't even see a customer. So how do you manage to develop and sustain that customer ethos throughout the whole system of global home improvements?
Yeah. Great question. I think we use the word customer when we're talking to. We had a production meeting there, an end of year production meeting, and all I could hear was our ops manager talking to all everyone on the factory floor. She was using the word customer all the time.
Really?
And so she was, and that's because I've been using it, and then other people have been using it. So, where there was an issue, seemingly, whereby our installation crews come in the morning to collect all the orders. And the scenario was that something wasn't right or whatever, and saying the installation crew weren't getting it right. But the ops manager responded with saying, "Look, our customers are coming in the morning to collect their orders," and so customer is used everywhere in every conversation. So, and I think that's it's so simple, but yet it's so fundamental,
Yeah. But that's it. And I mean, it is often just the basic, ordinary things, Barry, repeated day in, day out, day in, day out. Yeah.
I think sometimes things can be complicated, Alan. I'm very much a base. I like things simple.
Keep it simple.
Keep it simple, because if you have a complicated process or a complicated system, how are people meant to follow it? It doesn't. It's really hard to. So if you keep something simple, like if a customer rings, we have a rule they have to be phoned back within an hour. Simple things like that. And people say, sure, everyone knows that, but no, it's not. But if you put that down in writing, it'll happen. And if it doesn't happen, then that can lead to issues.
Right. Okay. So people are accountable. They know that you're serious. And the fact that I'm also, I know, Barry, you told me this many years ago, your father was so influential and so customer focused. And so clearly that has gone through the DNA of the business to you now in today's iteration. But getting that repetition just constantly to your own people throughout the business, it's just fantastic. It's clearly working for you. And, so I assume then, Barry, that also shows in repeat business. I mean, I know people don't change their windows every 20 years, but you mentioned to me before today about repeat business and referrals. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, so obviously we're 45 years in business, Alan, and we started off as a window and door company. And what we found was, obviously we're just doing the home, we're not going into building sites or commercial or whatever. So, but a lot of our customers, good few years ago, we were doing surveys on our customers. How can we be better? And a lot of customers actually said, I wish you'd done kitchens, I wish you'd done driveways, I wish you'd done this, I
Right,
wish you'd done that, because they were so happy with the service.
right,
So then we developed, we added another product to it, which was Roofline. So that's a kind of a whole roofline system. It's kind of like a rainwater system, ventilation for your roof. Then we done a flat roof product, and after that, and we just keep on adding. But what happens is, due to our, I suppose, the way we look after our customers and all the small things that we do along the way in the customer experience, they're just really, really happy, and they're recommending to our friend and family, and then they're coming back for more products, and that's just, it's brilliant.
wow. I mean, I think anyone listening, Barry, will be inspired by this being such a customer-centric company, that your customers are actually telling you what your strategy should be. In effect,
Yes.
isn't it? It's quite amazing, because
Unbelievable.
they're calling out. They love you so much, and I'm not being just patronizing saying that, but they clearly love you so much that they're saying, "Will you also do?" And that,
Yeah.
like, to be able to shape a strategy and to be able to say, "Well, yes, we're not going to do kitchens, but we are going to do roofs for all good reasons." By the way, and I know
Yeah.
the business, and I know the complications in that. So, but being able to say, right, our customers want us to do A, B, and C. Now, for good reason, we're not going to do A, but we will do B and C, that you might not have thought about beforehand.
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
think that's
Exactly.
fantastic, because, like, I think for anyone listening that would be just recognizing that they know theoretically this idea of being customer centric. It's a glib phrase that's often used, just like I said, glibly, but you're a true embodiment of it by the sound of things. So it looks like it's in your culture, throughout your culture, in everything.
Throughout. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm,
And it's one we strive for every day, and that's, and when I love to go out and meet customers, and that's where the motivation really kicks in, because when you meet someone face to face, it's a different experience than just seeing numbers on a
yeah,
page, and that's really how we get motivated. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's
fabulous.
brilliant.
So I know you mentioned the sales guys, and I remember, again, I'm going back to a conversation you and I had years ago, where you talked about you had your father developed a really, really strong sales training program, even when he had semi-retired. It's the one thing, if I'm remembering this correctly, that he kept
Yeah,
doing. Is that right? So, I
absolutely.
mean,
Yeah.
without giving away the family silverware here, Barry, what's the magic here? What are you doing?
Yeah, it's like it's I suppose it's a system, Alan, really. So it's everything comes back to, that's the one thing we'd also say is, if you want to have a customer centric organization, you have to have really good systems. So he developed a system, got a lot of influence and inspiration from other companies in the UK. He went over to the UK, and he got a huge amount of inspiration from them on how they were doing it, and then brought in a system and developed a system that really was suited the Irish homeowner. Salespeople used to join us, and their idea, the old traditional way of a salesperson was the gift of the gab. If you got the gift of the gab, you're a great salesperson. Where you're just doing all the talking and you're not using these two things here.
There is, yeah.
It's broken into, without going into too much detail because of time, but initially the first part is listening, going in and asking questions and actually just listening to the customer, and really, really spending time listening with the customer. And so that was the biggest part. So you're building up a picture of what the customer's issues were, the problems. The second part then was showing them the product, and really, really showing them the product and giving them a full understanding of what they're getting. And
Yeah.
when you're selling premium, that's really important. So we
Okay.
would actually bring in an actual window into your home if we came out to you now.
Yeah.
And we'd show you the window, break it down for you, show you all the parts to it, so you'd have a full understanding and you could ask as much questions as possible. The final part then would be, we would deliver the price with all the benefits and all the guarantees and explain all of that. And so that's the system in its core. The most important part that we always went back to, and we do training with our salespeople, and we do role play, etc. And if they were not good at the first part, listening, that affected their results.
I love that. I mean, that's true consultative selling in the language of the world of L&D, learning development. You're talking about consultative selling. But of course, Barry, in order to be a great listener, you also have to ask the right questions.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
they have kind of a checklist in their mind that they go through, Barry.
They would. We, like, as part of the system, we'd have several questions. We'd be talking about, like, if we called out to your house, we'd be asking about your heating bills, how much it's costing you, all that. So we'd be doing a full analysis of.
Great.
So they'd have a kind of a set system in order what questions to ask.
Yeah.
In order to get to really find out what you need.
The pain points. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
I mean, look, and it's clearly working.
It is.
Barry, how many salespeople do you have? And by the way, and link that to how many in the whole organization.
At the moment, in the whole organization, we have 46 people, and then we have a team of 8 salespeople. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a high percentage of salespeople from 46.
It is. It is. But I suppose you're selling a premium product, and
indeed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Barry, let's work back upstream a little bit. So to the sales guys, obviously have to get leads in the first place. What's the marketing activity? How do the guys get the leads in the first place?
Yeah, well, I suppose our model is that we don't ask salespeople to get leads themselves unless they know friends or family or recommendations.
Yes.
So we have a separate marketing department, which in its own right is nearly like a separate company, Alan.
Yeah.
So we'd have probably 15 different lead source channels all at the one time, from radio campaigns to press campaigns to leaflet drops to telesales to digital marketing, so forth. So we're constantly working on that to ensure that our salespeople have enough appointments and sales. Yeah.
Sure. And Barry, obviously, when you get a lead, ultimately, I'm sure you're able to track back where it came from, whether it be social or radio or telesales. So which of those do you think is the most successful for you?
That is such a hard question to answer, Alan. The one thing I will say is they all help each other. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
We track everything. That's the one thing we do is we track. So we track on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly, year to date, compare off the years before. But every lead source would have a conversion rate. So we'd have so let's say radio. So all radio leads have a conversion rate behind them. We'd also have a cost to revenue conversion as well. So we're constantly tracking that way. At the moment, they're all helping each other. I would say probably digital is actually actually seems to be getting very, very strong lately, and it's improving. What we do is, as a company, if something just goes outside of so let's say the conversion rate gets really poor and the cost is increasing, we go, okay, we'll give it 2 more months, but if not, then we're going to cut it. And that's the way we do it.
Right. Yeah. And going back to the social, I mean, obviously Facebook, Instagram and TikTok are the main ones. Which can you even narrow that down to?
Yeah, we'd probably we're on Instagram and Facebook. We're not on TikTok yet. I think that's planned for next year. So we would be, I think Facebook predominantly probably would be our strongest. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So you're into all this cost per lead and customer acquisition.
All right. And we just track every single part of it. I think you really do have to, because when you're spending, you're spending a good few bob. You have to make sure, you have to know what's working and what's not. It's crucial.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, so you've given a great rendition of your marketing and your sales ethos, linking back to your culture of customer centricity. And I'm now curious about the, in terms of the management internally. You've got any manufacturer or supplier like you has choices of owning the full supply chain, as in manufacturing all the way through, or you could outsource and just buy in from others. What consideration have you given to outsourcing instead of doing your own thing?
We have given it a lot of consideration, because it is much easier to outsource something than actually manufacture it in-house for so many reasons.
Right.
And we did try it. We trialed it, but we trialed it twice. But it just didn't work for us. We just could not get the quality. We could not get the control. We could not get the parts and the raw materials that we wanted to get in the window. We could, or the door. We just could not do it, and we had no control over the delivery. I'm not saying that, but 95% of window companies outsource their production.
Do they?
We
Right.
are in the minority, and some people would say we're crazy for doing it, but they don't understand what we're trying to achieve and what we do on a daily basis and the level of quality we give to our customers, and that's simply it. And I think if we outsourced, I think we would have to change our model a little bit,
Yeah, sure. And just linked to that then, Barry, do you do any white labeling for other fitters? No. Okay.
Absolutely not. No. It's the only people that can get the global products is global customers. Simple as that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay. Wow. Right. Very interesting. And so, Barry, you've got a very, very tight product offering, a very, very tight proposition. You know exactly where you are in the marketplace. You're very definitely a premium product and proud of that and consistent with that because you've tried over 45 years. You've earned that status and it's working for you because you're getting the business, you're getting repeat business. And I suppose then you've also expanded into other products as demanded by your customers or as suggested by your customers, and you responded to that. Where's the future then, Barry? What's happening next?
I think the future is, and I think it's already happening, Alan, is that there is obviously a massive focus on energy efficiency and, tomorrow's world as regards what the climatic change and so forth. So there has been a huge shift in the last couple of years as regards insulation and energy efficiency, and then coupled then with higher energy costs in oil and electricity and gas and everything else. We are definitely, we're still going to do what we do, but we've a new product coming in the line early next year. Obviously, we've solar for private homes, and we have that product almost ready. We have a waiting list with our customers. We launched a waiting list to see what the response would be.
Really?
And we said let's launch a waiting list to test the water, and sure enough, we got a lot of customers signed up to it, even though we hadn't told them what the product was or the pricing or anything like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we said, okay, we're going to give this a go. So that's coming in Q1 26.
Right. Very good. Now that will be one situation where you're buying in, you're not manufacturing, because they come from China, don't they?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, absolutely. And I think all the best systems, I think China are actually way ahead as regards batteries and solar and everything else. So absolutely, we'll be buying in the actual systems themselves, but we won't subcontract we'll be doing all the labor and workmanship ourselves and taking full control of that.
Will you really?
Yeah.
So does that mean, can your existing people do that, or do you have to?
No. We're in the process of actually recruiting at the moment. We've got various different consultants working with us from a technical level and from various different levels in order to get this business off the ground. And we feel we've got an unbelievable product, this next generation solar, and it's going to be a game changer. And we're recruiting for electrical people and so forth. So we're in the middle of getting ready. Yeah.
And this is a big difference because this is probably, you do, like currently in windows and doors and roofs, you don't need electrical other than just plugging something in your bed.
No.
So you're going a whole other adjacent route here now with this. So this is electrical.
This is, very much so. Like solar is a huge amount electrical. Absolutely, it's that is the thing. It has to be done right. And the one thing that struck me is that there's so many solar companies out there, and it's a big market at the moment, for obvious reasons. But I'm very confident that we can copy and paste our systems and the way we do things into this new. He's going to be a learning curve as well, but we've got a good team of kind of external consultants and experts really guiding us on this. So we're going to have one of the best systems out there.
Wow. Right. That's a brave claim,
Oh
Barry. Good
yeah,
for you.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
very confident. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Right. Okay. You know your business has more to give. Your people are talented. The intent is there, but something is not quite clicking. That's where we come in. I'm Alan O'Neill, founder of Cara, and I've spent 30 years helping organizations unlock their full potential, not by working harder, but by working smarter, using our 7 steps to profit framework. This is a clear, practical framework that aligns your North Star, your culture, your customer experience, and your execution. Your business can grow without the drama. Our support is also enhanced by our own organization health assessment to give you clarity on what you need to work on. If you feel like your organization is full of effort but low on results, you are not alone. Let's change that. Why not book a no-strings discovery call at 7stepstoprofit.com? That's the number 7, 7stepstoprofit.com. One call could change your direction. So, Barry, I'm just, in terms of knowing what's going on, you clearly have a very strong handle on your own business. Um, what what level of scanning are you doing in the wider world outside of Ireland? Because, I mean, as innovative as you are, I'm sure there's all sorts of new stuff happening around the world in other sectors. How do you keep up to date?
Yeah, I find LinkedIn is very good, Alan. I'd have been in various different industry groups on that. We have a consultant working from us from the UK that's based in Bali as well, that supports us. I'm also a member of EO, is a world kind of entrepreneurs group, Entrepreneurs Ireland. It's part of Entrepreneurs Organisation worldwide, and I'm heavily involved in that. And I joined that probably about 3 years ago, and that has made a significant difference to me and the business in that I've got multiple contacts, experts, and so forth, and I've got access to things where I would never got access before, which has been really, really
But
helpful.
this is a networking community rather than a
Yeah.
personal development community. It's networking.
Well, it's we don't sell to each other. It's very much, we meet up once a month for 4 hours, and we're all in kind of small silos groups within the general Irish organization. So there's probably 8 people in our group. No conflicts of interest. So there'll be different industries, and we go in, and for 4 hours you talk about your problems, you talk about your challenges, but then you'd also share, this is my ambition, and you get feedback from the group. They're all CEOs, they're all owners. So it's like
Okay.
having it's my non-exec board in many
Yes.
respects.
Yes. Right.
Um,
Okay.
and it's a bouncing board. But what happens is, if I want to, I went over to Denver early this year. I went over to the States. I got in touch. I said I need to talk to someone in the States who runs a window company. I met a guy who had 2,000 staff running a window company.
Of course
So
he
you can
did.
imagine
Yeah.
what I got out of that, unbelievable.
Mm.
So brilliant.
So this is a community. Well, obviously you're a big fan then of this notion of having a community of like-minded people, not necessarily industry specific, but like-minded people who are entrepreneurs and small business owners and
Yes.
connecting with others around the world.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. And the one thread that comes out, everyone has the same problems regardless of the industry.
Yeah.
It's a common thread. It's a common thread. And
Right.
it just makes a difference to be able to share that.
Sure. Sure. So
Yeah.
Barry, the broader market in Ireland, the housing market it's a real problem. We know that, and that's nothing to do with you. That's just reality around the country, not just Ireland, by the way. But how is the market, generally speaking, in the home improvements market? Undoubtedly, you got a boost during COVID. I know that. But
Yeah.
how has that sustained since COVID?
Yeah, no, look, we did get a boost coming out of COVID, and yeah, it sustained reasonably well. It unfortunately, I think when a certain person in the US makes announcements on various different things, it can affect consumer confidence a little bit. It can put a hold on it, and but other than that, no, we're reasonably happy. Our margin has improved this year, and we're very positive about going into next year and with the new things we have coming. And it's yeah, I think it's still I think Ireland is still a good place to do business, and I think if you have the right product, I think there's definitely always going to be a market for it.
Sure, sure. And is there a way of measuring market share? I mean, are you members of CIF or anything like that, Barry? The
No, we're
construction
not.
industry? No,
We're not.
no.
We're not, because
So,
we don't really operate in that space, so it
no,
doesn't really. We don't need to be. It's very, very hard to measure market share. But as you quite rightly said, like premium is not volume. It's like the
yeah,
triangle at the top. We're in the
sure.
top segment, so it's yeah. So we don't know really, to be honest with you. Yeah.
But your good feeling is, though, I mean, obviously you're growing yourself and your margin's improving as well. I mean, you kind of know if your competitors were growing faster than you. Is it ear to the ground kind of thing, Barry, more than actual statistics that you can?
It's very, very much so. Like I would have various people that I can talk to find out, how is everyone doing. I was only talking to a competitor not in my space, but today about just how's he doing, and we'd have open conversation. He's
Yeah,
one of the good competitors. I'm not saying they're all good, but he's one of the good ones, and we've ways of means to find out that no, we're
yeah.
doing okay. Yeah,
Great. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, Barry, I
absolutely.
mean, it's fantastic. It's a great story, it really is. And I'm curious now a bit more about you. Tell me, when you look around you, it was clearly you're watching what's going on, not only in your own industry, but around you. What companies out there do you admire and why? I mean, it can be any industry, it can be any size, Barry, but who do
Hmm.
you really enjoy watching?
Great question, Alan. I would say, I have to say, I know they're not premium, but I think the way Michael O'Leary has, just transformed aviation in Ireland is just on a different level. And
Mm,
they're he says what it is on the tin. It's great value, and you get what you pay for. So I think that's a real success story. David McRedmond in on Pust. I think what David McRedmond has done in on Pust in recent years has been phenomenal. I just think I admire him as a leader, and just the way he customer centric, staffing, the quality, not afraid to put up the price in order to keep everything going. People like that. And then if you want to go broader,
Well,
I'm
just before you
always a
move
big
on,
fan of
just before you move on to the third one, Barry, just if you look at it on Post, I mean, what is impressive there is that like surface mail must have dropped. When you
yes.
think about nobody,
Mm.
even Christmas cards, I don't know, I probably sent a handful of Christmas cards this year. For anyone listening, if you didn't get one, you're only a handful. I mean, we're all only sending a handful of Christmas cards as an example, because people don't send cards. And it's not but then email has taken over from so many document transfers and so on. But yet
Yeah.
they've diversified so well into financial services, for example, and
Oh
then the
yeah.
parcels. Yeah, so I didn't know the CEO's name actually. You're a bigger fan than I am, but
Yeah.
certainly the post office is impressive. And
Oh, it's
as for
brilliant.
Michael O'Leary, I mean, there's no doubt you cannot take it away from the guy in what he has done, both in terms of not just growing Ryanair to be the number one airline, most popular in the world, I believe, but
Yeah.
also the way he has also helped Ireland Inc. in terms of the numbers of people coming in and out. It's
Mm.
quite phenomenal.
It's
Am I a
phenomenal.
fan of his style? Not particularly, but who am I to talk? Given he's a lot more successful than I am, Barry, with that style, it has clearly worked for him. Yes, calling it as it is, he's not trying to be premium. He knows he's not premium. He does exactly what it says on the tin, and I agree with you. So full credit. You're number three. Who's your number three?
But I'm trying to think now. I
Oh
had
no,
one, but
sorry.
it's
I thought I interrupted you from a number three. Well, I
no,
thought
no, no.
no,
I
no.
probably would say, the likes of Louis Copeland,
Right.
they're okay. They're not a massive brand, but they're a massive brand name.
Yes,
The way they do business and just everything, I think it's really, really good. I think they've got a great story. Again, a family business, and just everything is done really, really well. A really good example of premium,
it
and
is.
how to do
I
it.
agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah,
And being so focused on what they do. They do men's wear, and that's it. And they're very clear about that.
that's it.
And it's a real family company, total customer centricity, and you've got to
Yeah.
admire that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So it's Yeah, no, look, I think there's so many cases, Alan,
Yeah,
of great
yeah, yeah.
Irish businesses. So many.
So listen, Barry? What about you? What keeps you going? I mean, you clearly love the business, and you're in it since 1990. What? It's 95. You said
1999, Alan.
99.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And like, how do you keeping yourself busy and apart from work?
Well, I've got 4 kids, so that certainly that
Right.
makes up for it.
What ages are they, Barry?
They're from 12 to 18.
Ah, oh, right. Okay, that's a busy house then.
Yeah, so I love going to work, Alan. I love going to work. So, but no, it's that they really keep me busy outside of work.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, I think I've kind of designed my I suppose my workload. I spent an awful lot of hours working long weeks and long hours and every Saturday and so forth 10 years ago. I think when I came out of COVID and joining Entrepreneurs Ireland, I said, right, there's an easier way to do this. So I focus on things I really like doing and really,
Right.
really enjoy doing.
Good for you.
And I love going into work. I love meeting all the staff and just, I love it.
Great, great, great.
And I think that's important.
Listen, it's a great story, and congratulations once again, Barry. 45 years in it for an Irish business, second generation. It doesn't always happen. You know that as well as I do. So congratulations, and long may it continue. Barry, thank you so much. I really enjoyed that. That was great. Thank you.
Alan, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, great.